Now then guys, essentially what we have here is a shopping list. So
we're gonna go
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode and a brand new season of Building a Nation with FC Midtjylland. If you're still enjoying the series and you're looking forward to the season, smash the like button. That would be glorious. I don't know, 800? Let's try that. Now, I've never done a video like this before. Usually my transfer stuff is always like me just going back and showing you, but I decided to try out one of these live, pseudo-live, sort of transfer window ones. Now, I don't know how long the video is going to be as a result of that. I'm obviously going to try and clip it up, but I've got nearly 2 hours worth of footage, basically, to go through to try and chop up into something that's going to show you kind of what's happened. So I've shown all the ins and all the outs and little other things that happened over the summer as well. There's obviously no face cam because it's 2 hours worth of recording, but I'll join you guys in a sec. So enjoy the highlights of our summer, I suppose. I was going to look at how other people have done these sort of videos, but I decided to just not do that and just see what happens when I try to do it myself and see what came to mind. So this is what's basically happened. Obviously, loads of things to show you guys, and it'll all be in these sort of summer highlights, so to speak. So I'll join you guys in a sec for our first Champions League game, which, as you can see, is against Zalgiris. So what I've done now is I've narrowed down the shortlist by removing players that, of course, we've already signed, as well as that Ukrainian guy that was at the bottom of the list that just didn't look quite up to scratch. I've also checked through all of the players to make sure that none of them have deals agreed with other clubs and they are all sort of fresh and ready to go, so we can enter contract talks and put in bids for some of them. Now, I'm obviously going to turn my attention first to the ones that we've actually got price ranges for, because they'll, in theory, want to join us, and I want to make sure that we're at least, you know, trying to bring some of those guys in. And frankly, from what I can tell, some of them actually got decent potential. Some of the best potential players there actually want to join the club, so that'd be rather cool as well. I know that it's only the 29th of May, and it's literally practically the last day of the season, but I want to try and get some of these bids in nice and early so that we've got plenty of time to negotiate with these guys and maybe get as much transfer business as we need to done before we've even opened the window. That way we can concentrate after that on contracts and holding on to our best players more than anything else. Now, I'm not looking at specific positions, I'm just looking at quality rather than the actual positions they play and whether or not we need them, because the fact is someone will need them, and as long as we can get them into Denmark, that's the main thing. So it doesn't matter if we sign like 5 left midfielders, that's not really irrelevant. That's not really relevant to me. I'm interested in the fact that they're good players and we could loan them out to other clubs and then they can have good players. That's what we're really trying to do here. So that's the beautiful thing about it, really. If we find that we find a lot of players in one position, it doesn't matter, we can still sign them. First one we're going to go after is Peter Obifule. That potential alone is enough for me to want to bring this guy in. He looks like he could be a solid player on the left-hand side, and we could really do with some new players on that wing, and that would be good, particularly if Julian does tend to have a go and leave or whatever. So, let's see. Can we offer them 16k? Probably not. Okay, 975,000. I think that means we could probably get them for about $500,000 maybe, which is a lot, I appreciate. But 1.6 million in transfer funds. He looks like a really solid player, and I think we can get the money down a little bit more than that. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to offer them 100k up front, and we're then going to offer them in monthly installments over 24 months, 48 months, which brings the fee right down. We're going to offer them 500k. Actually, I could probably do a bit less than that. If I offer them 400 like that, how about that? Okay, so they want 120 up front and 375 over the next few years. And what that means is we'll actually only pay 170k for him this summer. And that, for me, is a pretty good deal. So if we can bring him in straight away, that would be bloody ideal. Let's suggest the terms, and they have accepted it. So hopefully we can get a contract offer in for him as well. Now, what I'm basically going to do is try and go through and do the same thing on all of the other players that we actually can get bids in for at this point. And obviously I'll show you the amount we agree, but I'm not going to show you the negotiations for each individual one because it'll just take too long. Right, so we've agreed a deal now with Sergio Marus, who is one of the other players I was very interested in. Again, £100,000 up front. Other deals, of course, 300,000 over the next 4 years, as well as some other clauses for games. But overall, it could only rise to 550,000. But we're only paying 140 up front again, which is going to make sure that we can structure these deals nicely, so that when we've got more money down the line, we can still be paying them off perfectly. For curiosity purposes, more than anything else, I've decided to bring in the Indonesian lad, just not for the lols per se, but just to see if there is anything about this guy. And frankly, we're paying £15,000 up front, so we might as well just go with it, you know? We've now agreed a deal for Andres Arieta, who I believe plays in the Costa Rican League. Someone did actually tell me that they were good players, so we seem to have got a good deal. Again, £100,000 up front, 300 over the next 4 years, only paying 140k up front. These are the sort of deals that I remember when I used to buy players in big lump sums, and I never used to realise how silly that was. And at times, you obviously take a risk by doing this because you're putting money down the line, but the fact is, I feel like with the Champions League league money, we'll be able to pay off this money quite easily. If you actually look at how much it takes off your budget over the next few years, it's pretty damn minimal. So we can really safely get these players in on really good contracts. Next up, we've agreed a deal for Juan Cruz, 100k up front, 250 over 4 years, £130,000 overall up front, which I think is quite delightful. The final one on my little list of players that I know want to join us is Junior Ibrahim of Enugu Rangers. We've got 110k agreed up front with 350 over the next few months. They were quite hardball on this one. They want 20% of the next profit, and that's the lowest I could get them down to. So it's going to cost us 150k up front, but again, I still think it's a decent deal to bring in a player of this quality, because the fact is, we're only going to have to put them on £1,000 a week, and, you know, we've got the transfer budget and the wage budget to deal with that at the moment, so I think it's worthwhile doing. So it is quite literally the same day that I put all those bids in, basically, and we've got now into contract talks with all of these players. Now, obviously, we have to give them minimum amounts of money in order for them to get a work permit, so they'll all be on 900 and something a week, which again is more than I would like to pay these youth players, but because of the amount of money you get to offer them, it does mean that you can then offer them things like a 3-year contract extension, which means you can keep them at the club on low money in theory for quite a long time, more than you would normally, rather than having to give them huge contract extensions. So it kind of works both ways for us. Now let's get into the first one. Obifule, in theory we have to offer them is that the minimum we... Yeah, that's the minimum. Okay, so we'll just offer him that, and then we'll offer him that as the minimum there, and everything else looks pretty cool. But what I can now do is get these optional extensions by the club of 3 years, and usually they accept them. Yep, and that's what I mean. It gives us that option in case, you know, we don't want to extend the contract on huge money, but we can just automatically extend it by 3 years. And I'm going to try and offer these to all of the players that we are bringing in. And, you know, even though there's only like 5 or 6 of them, that's still going to leave us plenty of wage budget to go after a few of the slightly bigger ones, potentially, if we have to, you know? Okay, so as it turns out, it's only for players that are outside of Europe that we have to offer those amount of money to. So we can actually offer Sergio Maris £275 a week, which is pretty damn nice. However, he won't accept the optional extension bit, but that's fine because we'll get him on a lot less money in the meantime. I think my favourite thing so far is that the worst player of the bunch is the one that wants to play hardball over contracts. Yeah, he's changed his tune when I actually offered him some money. Arietta has also agreed himself a 3-year deal with 3-year extension on the usual terms. So has Juan Cruz, would you believe? I think this is going to make me certainly look towards Europe a lot more for these types of players, because it means we can get them in on smaller fees and maybe only start looking for the really big talents from these countries. But I feel like these guys probably are big enough talents to be warranting that kind of money at this stage, really, given what we get for that. And it's not a huge surprise that Ibrahim has also accepted the same terms, and we look to have managed to sign up all 6 players within the first day of our doing transfers, which would be pretty damn good, and it means it will leave me some more money once these guys actually have agreed the deals for me to go and pursue some of the slightly better players that might take a bit more persuading to bring in. Decided to go and ask the owner if we can improve our training facility, since we've got that extra money and it's not going in the transfer kitty at the moment, so we might as well use it on something. So, yes, that's the one we want, really, because that's the one that I think will help us the most. Improving training facilities would encourage the agreed philosophy of the club by developing its own players, which we are keen to see. Therefore, we approve the request. That is glorious. Hopefully, our training facilities will go up as well. The youth facilities will be finished over the next couple of months, and I might apply for some more improvements in that sense too. So the first deal has been agreed. Ibrahim is set to join FC Midtjylland, except... Next one coming in, Andres Arietta. Into the club you go, sir. Next one coming in, Maris has agreed. Let's get him in. In comes Obifule. And finally, in comes Finkru, which is a glorious surname, by the way, which I didn't really pick up on before. Now, what that means so far is that we've got 3 players joining us, well, 2 in June, 1 in July, and then 4 of them will join us, 3 of them will join us next summer, in January rather, and then 1 of them the following January after that. So again, this is all stuff for the future, but this is what I'm talking about the youth conveyor belt. You start getting transfers prepared for the future, and then those players can start slowly rolling in. And some seasons, you might not sign any players, but you still have like 7 players join you. That's the beauty of it. So as it turns out, I actually forgot to put a bid in for Stefan Carpanu, which is a shame, but we're going to try and bring him in now, and actually he seems to be going even cheaper than some of the others, so this will only cost us 71,000 this year. So we'll still bring him in there, and he's European, which would be even better. Okay, so we've agreed a deal with Carpanu for him to join the club very, very soon, and we should be able to finalise that now. So Carpanu will be joining us as well. We've still got some funds left, which is good. So I had a look at some of the other players that was left on that list that apparently wouldn't join us, and I noticed that Antonio Zupan was not actually on a contract yet, and we were able to put in a bid for him, and they wanted more. So I figured we'd just pay the compensation of 500k, and we can bring him in as well. He looks like a really solid little player. And now we come to the part where we have to try and hang on to all of our players. This is going to be the tough bit. So Sparv, hell no. Cadlet's even bigger hell no from Hull, although I'm going to stall it just to waste their time. The Dundee have put in a bid for our 3rd choice keeper, and it would be like £43,000. So I figured, you know what? Let's just get some extra money in, because why the hell not? He's never going to play for us, I don't think, so we might as well just sell him. So Antonio Zupan as well, one of the players that was a little bit out of our price range, has now joined us, which is pretty damn cool. The reason I had to pay the compensation on this one is because that they wouldn't negotiate down any lower than 800k in the transfer negotiation, so I thought, you know what, screw it, we'll just pay the comp instead. So 4 players have joined the club, which is pretty damn pleasing. All 16, 17 and 19, so pretty damn good. That gets some young players. Hopefully we can get them out on loan or get them straight in, you never know. So there's been a youth intake over in South America. I think that's Venezuela, and I see Ecuador in there as well, maybe Peru. And what that means is that we can send out a scout to look at all of these players, and you never know, one of them might be half decent. That's the beauty of this new system. And this is interesting. We've moved up 2 places to 20th in the competition rankings, which is good, because that's after all what the save is about, and this screen is really important to us. So we've moved up 2 places in just the first season. I'm guessing that's helped by the fact we got to the group stages, but that's really, really useful. But it does seem that for now we're still 21st on this list, but I don't know if that's because it's not updated or whether that's because the 2 are not connected in any way. So of those players that we scouted over in South America, there were 3 that my scouts seemed to think were okay. Now obviously we know nothing about them so far, but they were good enough for me to put them on the shortlist for now, and I'm going to send scouts out to look at them a little bit more, at least scout them 100%, maybe send them out for a month. Now 2 of them weren't interested, but one of them might still be this Diego Rey guy from Venezuela. So we might have a look at these 3 and see what happens with these. So Stoke have put a bid in for Pione Sisto. It's the first bid we've actually had from him in this entire save, I think. So what I'm going to do, first is I'm going to stall the offer just to buy some more time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run them up on a huge price, then set it so that we can automatically reject any offers below that. That's a good way of just automatically dealing with it on your big players, basically. So that's what we're going to try and do now. The fella wanted moon money, but we've managed to argue him down to £16,500. But unfortunately, it was the most I could offer him. It was only 1 more year. So he's certainly being difficult, which is not ideal, right? So I've decided to let Marco Larsson go out to Turkey, just because I don't think he's ever going to really get much of a chance in the team, and if we can get £350,000 for him, it might be worth doing. Okay, so we've got to talk about this. Croatia won the European Championship in 2016. How awesome is that? Right, guys, we are back. So I hope you enjoyed what I just showed you there. I'm not sure how long that would have come out. There's quite a lot of stuff in there, basically. But the league now has 14 teams in it, as you can see. There's now 6 playoff spots, as you can see, and everything gets a little bit fruity and different as we start to move along. You notice we're up to 20 in the league rankings, but only 21 in the coefficient, so obviously they are done on different metrics, which is interesting as well. So I think it'd probably be quite wise if I just took you through and showed you very, very quickly, and you can pause if you want to take a closer look, the stats of the players that we have actually brought in over the course of the summer. And Andres Arieta, who, oh my days. Anyone else remember Milton Peralta? Last time I saw this guy, he was a guard at a women's prison. Unfortunately, Novak is suspended rather, which means Alexander Munksgaard is going to have to come in at left back, which is not ideal because there was a bloody friendly cup, which I couldn't seem to get out of, that was scheduled beforehand, which kind of sucks, but what can you do? Now, what I am going to do, though, Singh, we also had a bid from him, which was very nearly at his release clause, so I might look to get him on a new contract in the summer as well. Olsen, unfortunately, still is not back yet, which sucks, the big one. Something else that I was suggested to, and I might try this today, is to actually put our right fullback onto attack, because we've got a lot of cover over on this side anyway, and it would help get the ball up and beyond Sisto, and Römer's so good at that anyway, so we might try that for today's game, give it a little test out and see how we do. So, our home against the Lithuanian side, I'd like to think we've got the better of them, and I think over 2 legs we probably should be able to get ourselves through. Now, we're expected to get to the playoffs this year, but I would like to see us get to the group stage again, to be honest, because let's face it, we need that extra moolah. You know, you get 8 million for getting there and another 8 million in television money, which is hugely important for what we're doing here, to be honest. That's kind of key for us, is that extra money, particularly next season. I think should lead our transfer budget being much bigger, which is also good because our percentage of transfer retained is now up to 80%, which is lovely. So we're getting a lot of crosses completed so far, and I think personally we should just be able to grind them down. But what the first thing I'm going to do is actually turn that tempo down a little bit and just make sure that we try and just keep hold of that ball a little bit longer, maybe just slow the tempo down, and I'm not sure. We'll look at that later on. But the fact is we've created some shots so far and some half chances, but we're not turning it into anything substantial, as the assistant there has already said. Lots of half chances so far. They're obviously standing off of us, which means we've got to try and make the most of our possession. They have got back 5, haven't they? Oh my good, look at this. They've basically got a back 8. I mean, this is insane. How are we going to get past them? I think we've got to go down the wings because they've got a back 3 and there's going to have to be some space. What would you do against a back 5 sort of system like this? Do let me know. I'm kind of curious because I don't come up against these guys very often, but when I do, I never know what to do against these sort of systems. I feel like we should beat them anyway, but I'm curious to know what you guys would do in that situation, and see how close I come to what you might have done. So what we're going to do is exploit the flanks firstly, since we're getting in down both sides, and maybe just turn off pass into space. because I want to try and maybe keep possession a little bit. I don't know, maybe we'll just have to see how we do in the second period. We're just not getting enough shots on target so far, which is something, again, I wanted to work on, but we'll see. I want to at least win the game. I feel like we should be able to beat them over 2 legs regardless of what happens, but I want to win the home game so we can rest players for that second leg and concentrate on the new league system. Römer, out wide for Munksgaard. It doesn't help that we've had to put him in instead of Novak. Poulsen, what on earth was that for a touch? Singh with a fantastic tackle, though, getting across there. I can't wait to see some of the new players get debuts, and they will this year in the cup and things like that. Sobby gets himself in, goes for the shot, and it's easily stopped by the goalkeeper. But half chances are plenty so far. I want to see us get a clear-cut opportunity, and that's kind of my... Right, Kadlec has not done well so far, but then again, it's a difficult game for a striker because he's got so many players around him. Kadlec, I bet he'll still score in this game, though. Oh, and he has planted that brilliantly. Midtjylland won... why have the kits seem to disappear in European games, and I don't quite know why that is. So Kadlec gets himself to the edge of the D, dribbles past his man, and it's nice to see in a game that he wasn't really getting much of a chance, he's still able to pull off something like that and start the season the way I hope that he continues it. And until such times we get a brilliant regen striker, he's going to be leading the line for us, isn't he? Chvesko. I could do with a couple more goals in today's game if I'm... Oh, my sweet mother of... Oh... Was that Munksgaard that headed that back across? Because I can't believe we've just conceded a goal now. That is shocking. What? That looked like Munksgaard's error. And yes. Oh no, it was Römer of all people. And then Hansen failed to challenge. And it's a good finish. But what are we doing? We've conceded with the first shot on target. They'd only had one shot before that, and now they're level. Lovely kit, by the way. A little bit odd. I can't believe we've conceded a goal there. Jesus. Right, okay. What more can we even do at this point? Look at this. I think getting some more crosses in might be... No, I don't want to... Because if we turn that, that turns that off, doesn't it? So, work ball into the box, maybe? Oh, dear. Close down a little bit more. Push up a little bit higher. Maybe push the tempo a little bit. I don't know. Actually, no. We'll do that, but might just squeeze the pitch up a little bit. I don't see them having the pace to get in behind us, so I want to see if we can squeeze them a little bit. If we have to rely on 2 set-piece goals, then so be it. But it doesn't exactly fill me with confidence. Kadlec again. He's in, cleared away. Comes back to Sisto, and it's a penalty. Okay, apparently it's a penalty. Poulsen had a good penalty record last year. Again, it's the issue with us in this game. Once again, there's too many long shots, which I think is down to possibly the likes of Singh. Poulsen steps up, and he scores the penalty. We do have the lead back again, and I feel like that's fine. We'll probably still be able to go to Lithuania and win. It's just a little bit of a shame that we've actually had to somehow struggle so much in this game. And I say struggle, we've still been the better side comfortably, but we didn't take our chances in this game, and not enough clear-cut opportunities. Then again, playing against the defence like that is astonishingly difficult. Right, substitutions are afoot here. We're going to get Sakibo in for his debut. Julian will come off. We've had a lot of bids for Julian, but none of them have exceeded like 500 grand, which is very surprising. I think Rayo were the ones that offered us the most. We're going to get Royer in here. You know, it's Ono Archer who's back there. I'm still trying to move him on, I think, because I just don't think he's going to get a game for us this year. And maybe Bangard in for Sparv, actually. Oh, shit, I should have put Bangard in. What was I doing? Well, it looks like we're going to win 2-1 against them, which is very, very disappointing. But I don't think we've deserved to win by much more than that. We've not created that many opportunities in today's game. They've been very strong defensively. Okay, maybe it should have been 2-0, but hey, I think we'll still get through. It's just a little bit of a disappointing start, considering how well we played in the this round last year against the likes of, well, further on against Red Bull Salzburg and whatnot. But there we go, 2-1 to Midtjylland. Don't know why the kits aren't appearing in European games, just how it is, I suppose. So I thought we'd finish off the episode actually with a draw for the next round. That way I can do the second leg of the next round, because I feel like we probably will still go through, and that way we can get this pre-season bit done a little bit quicker. We'll just let the draw happen, basically. Right, Zalgiris or Midtjylland against... Oh dear. We're going to play against Dinamo. That's a really, really tough one. Well, I mean, it's certainly tougher than it could have been. So, yeah, next episode it's probably going to be the second leg against... Dynamo Zagreb, which is going to be quite a tough game, but I feel like if we can get through that, we could probably get through anyone. Could have had some easier ties, but that's just the way it is. So, we don't actually have a fixture date for that yet, so we'll just have to assume it's relatively soon. So, guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, do drop a like on the video, that would be superb, and if you'd like to even more than that, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more episodes like this in your inbox every single day at 7 o'clock, and I'll join you guys in the next episode for a game, in theory, unless I balls it up horrifically, against Dynamo Zagreb. So enjoy that, and I'll join you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.